Coach, appreciate you sitting down with us today. Just got a couple of questions for you. Also appreciate letting you sitting in your practice. Look like you got some talent out there this year. Season started now. Got a couple games under your belt. Can you kind of go over a little bit what your feel is for your team this year, kind of where you think you're at right now?
Well, we feel like we're going to be a very good team, you know, when everybody gels and we get the chemistry set up. You know, we are a fairly young team. I mean, we've got a good mixture of experience and a lot of youth. Right now is a matter of getting the youth acclimated to, you know, what we do and making sure that everybody's on the same page at the same time, and that's been a challenge so far. We played 5 games, we won all 5 of them, and actually we won pretty easy. I'm still not satisfied with the way we're doing things. I just believe there's just so much more to get out of this team, and it's early on. You know, I mean, it's early, so I got to keep that into perspective, and you know, just keep pushing them, and hopefully, with the more we play and the more we practice, the more the young guys will come around. And I keep emphasizing the younger players because I truly believe they will be the key to how deep we go this year.
A lot of coaches are goal-oriented. You know, got a lot of goals they like to set. Are you that type of coach? When you enter a season, you like to set goals with your team, or do you kind of expect them to come out and, you know, give it all they got every night, both in effort and focus, and then you think things will play out after that?
Well, definitely. I believe that you know, unless you setting you know, state championship as your goal every year, then you're probably better off just playing the games just one at a time and making sure you're getting the maximum effort out of every performance. It's been my, you know, with me, it's always been just trying to maximize what we have. Trying to get them to play to their fullest potential, play as hard as I can get them to play, and put them in a system that allows them to utilize whatever skills that they have. I believe if we have enough of those people doing enough of the things that we're talking about and implementing and learning the things that we want to learn, we've always going to have a pretty good shot at doing some really good things, you know, in the postseason. And just for the record, I do believe we, in February, we should be good enough to challenge for another state championship.
Can you talk a little bit? You talked about how you got some younger kids this year. You're trying to work them in, work some things out there. Can you talk about the makeup of your team this year? Kind of who your leaders are on the floor at this point?
We brought back a nucleus of guys who played extensive minutes last year. One of them is Mark Irick. The other would be Jaquan Darby and Brandon Thomas. Excuse me, Brandon Thomas. How they call him, Brandon Gosen. Brandon Thomas, guy named Tomas, Charlie. These kids played a lot of minutes. You know, matter of fact, all 4 of them were starters last year. The other kid that will probably make the biggest impact, make the most difference is Shamir Jeffries. And I see, and I kind of separate him because he missed 75% of the season last year to a foot injury. And, you know, he's probably our best ball player, which meant that a lot of kids had to more or less adjust their game to do different things to compensate for his, you know, for him not being there. But that has helped him, I think, more than it hurt him. You know, last year we went through some changes because of that, and we struggle at times, especially at the end of ball games where you need you know, a kid to know how to make it happen. But going through that has made them better ball players, and I think that in itself will make us a lot stronger, you know, this year. But we do have some kids coming off of the JV, for example, that are new to the varsity game. Good athletes. They don't really understand what a real war is in terms of playoff type war. And we're doing everything we can to prepare them for that. Games like the one we played against Andre Wilkerson, with that kind of environment, full house, very a whole lot of, you know, animosity. You got a team that you really don't like. It sets up a type of playoff type atmosphere, and that will play big dividends later on. So you want to. That's why you play games like those. You know, to make certain that your kids will adjust to those type of situations and be able to perform under those kind of situations.
Right. Coach, you grew up right here in St. Matthews. Been here a long time. Came back. Been helping out here for a while. How many years have you been at Calhoun County now?
This is
coaching.
My 22nd year.
Okay, 22 years. So I got a question for you. Now that you got those 22 years kind of behind you. How long did it really take you to get your program where you wanted it? You know, to kind of, you know, build that tradition that you were looking for.
Well, the first 4 years, I think, first 4 or 5 years, I spent just trying to get them to understand that they supposed to win. You know, they'd gotten in this mentality that, you know, it was just a game to play, just something to do. You know, and when I played back here, we won a couple of state championships back then as well. So for us, you know, basketball was the game. You know, we believed that we supposed to be winning games, and I had to get them to adjust their mentality more than anything else. We had talented kids, just they didn't want to dig in as hard as they should. But you know, back then I was playing a lot of ball myself, and you know, I'd take them to the court almost every day, and you know, handed out lessons from the time I got there to the time, you know, 3-4 hours in a row. And so they saw how serious I was about it, and you know, I was fortunate enough to run into a couple of kids that really enjoyed playing the game, and they were, you know, leaders on campus as well, and you know, the thing just took off once they had that first winning year. And let me back up a minute, because when I first got here, they want to combine 4 games in 2 seasons. You know, when I first got here, they just came off a 2 and 18 season, so as you can imagine, they were pretty much down in the dumps.
Right.
We finished the year, we lost 7 out of the first 8 games we played. All of them were close games. We except for a couple of games we played against a team out of Bowman, which were state champions 2-3 years in a row. But we were, you know, slowly building that type of confidence in them. Well, just to make a long story short, we finished the year winning 9 out of the last 10, including beating the team out of Saluda, which was ranked like 2nd or 3rd in the state at that particular time. So after that happened, you know, things really took off. You know, they started to believe that, you know, we should be playing better basketball. The next year we had our first winning season. You know, under myself, that was my second year. We were like, I think it was 18-10, and then we just kept getting better and better, you know, each year.
Kind of a piggyback question on that. You've kind of established some success, a little bit of tradition. With that comes, you know, some teams sometimes get a little complacent, think things come a little too easy. How do you avoid that with your team?
Well, you know, we pretty much understand that we are a target for everybody. You know, based on the success that we've had, and you know, we in an area that's really a hotbed for basketball. There's a lot of good basketball be played in the Midlands. We've traveled and played everybody that we could play or would play us. So our reputation is very well known. The fact that we are so much a target for the other schools in our area keeps us, you know, on edge.
Right.
And you know, we refuse to be the hunted. You know, we always want to be the hunter. And I think more than anything else, as you get new kids to come in from one year to the next, once you build that tradition of winning and develop or get to a certain level of excellence, then I think it's easier to get them to understand what the situation is, and they play hard. I've been blessed with kids that will play hard, and I mean they'll go to the wall if you ask them. And I've always told them if they give the effort, you know, and plus put the mind into what they're doing, and we're going to be pretty good year in and year out.
Right. Coach, you go ask any of these kids out here if they've got an idol or a player that they like to emulate their game after. They're going to name somebody.
Right.
Coaching-wise, do you have somebody you look up to idol-wise as a coach that over the years you've looked at and you say, you know, let me try to implement some of what he's done into what I do?
Yeah. Early on when I first started coaching, I didn't have any real idea of what I really wanted to do as a coach. You know, I just got through playing ball, and all I really knew was, I know my guys, my high school should be playing better basketball than this. But my first year or two, I started watching some college teams. There's always college teams that I watch, because I think you learn more from watching the college game. I watched 3 teams. I think it's the teams where Rick Pitino was. You know, I think he was at Kentucky at the time. I also watched the Georgetown teams. George Thompson was still there, and they were doing a lot of pressing and running. And back then, Nolan Richardson was doing the 40 Minutes of Hell with Arkansas.
Right.
And it became, I just enjoyed watching those type of games. And, I said, I got those kind of people here at Calhoun. I said, there should be some kind of way to get my guys to dig in and play like not. And I wanted to take it even further than that, because they would press for a while and back up for a while, press for a while and back up for a while. I wanted to press and run the whole game. So it became a situation where I started to do some very similar things. The 2-2-1 is something that I think each one of them ran at some point. The half-court traps or something that you could probably watch Rick Pitino teams, and teams that had the great athletes did it quite a bit. Right now he's not doing it quite as much with Louisville. For some reason they're doing a lot of zones with Louisville. But it was usually Rick Pitino, John Thompson, and Nolan Richardson.
Right.